Hello, ladies. Welcome back to the show. Okay, I've got my coffee and go Chiefs. We are, if you're watching the video, then you caught why I said that. I've got my Chiefs coffee mug. I have sent these kids back to school. I've got mixed emotions, not gonna lie. I am recording this episode on the fly. I actually had another episode scheduled, but over the weekend, I was thinking about how many of you are ready to make changes right now to shed body fat, feel your best, get confident, and honestly, we kind of need to have a conversation around timelines. We need to have a conversation around consistency. We need to have a conversation around our diet, our exercise, and honestly, I couldn't wait as I was thinking about these things. I was like, we need to talk about this stuff right now. I can't record this episode and hold off on sharing it with you guys. So that is what we're going to talk about today is 5 things to change right now if you want to lose body fat. So let's go ahead and dive right in. What's up, you guys? You're listening to the podcast It's All About Balance with me, Hillary Downey. On this show, I'll teach you how to ditch fad dieting once and for all so you can quit gaining and losing the same weight over and over again. Forget extreme diets that deprive you and don't work. With macro counting, you can learn how to lose weight eating the food you love. Pizza, cookies, and wine, it's all on the table. But we don't just talk about diet around here. We'll cover fitness, mindset, lifestyle habits, all of the important topics I had to address in my own 100-pound weight loss journey that you'll need to reach your goals as well. You deserve to look and feel your best, and I'm so excited to walk beside you and show you how. It's time to unlearn what you've been taught about weight loss and discover that it's truly all about balance. So let's go. All right, you guys. So if you've been following this saga of me getting the boys back to school and struggling so much mentally with it, it's so weird. I think it's because this summer just went so fast. It's kind of I don't know. I always have this little bit of mom guilt at the beginning of the school year of not necessarily did we do enough. We always jam pack and, do fun things, but was I present enough? Did I really soak up those moments enough? I don't know that I'll ever not feel this way. I don't know if I don't know that I could ever do any more than what I do. At some point you just have to not be a perfectionist and just let things go a little bit of a control freak. But I can't help but just be oh my gosh, it goes so fast. And I heard this quote recently for my moms out there about how your kids are only, you only know your children as children for a very small percentage of their life. And it's one of those things, it's like a catch-22 in a lot of ways to think about those things, because in a lot of ways, it's I'm excited. I'm not sad to I'm not hurrying them into the next stage. I'm not sad to see the next stage approach, because to me, at the end of the day, I've shared this, aging is a privilege. Getting to see your healthy children grow up, turn into adults, reach these milestones, it is a privilege. So I'm not sad about it, but there's always melancholy. There's always a little bit of bittersweetness behind it. And I don't know that that'll ever go away. I finally have just embraced that that's a part of it. You're always going to just feel a little sad, but it is super exciting. And I know for me, I'm really pumped because I've got so many things that I am really looking forward to doing that we've been wanting to do. For example, I am currently recording this podcast episode with video. So if you're watching the video, hello, it's good to see you. If you see me on social, I talk on stories. I've literally been on Instagram sharing my life, talking on stories. Well, actually it goes back to Snapchat. I was sharing on Snapchat and recording and talking in the camera for the last 8 years. Yeah, since Ben was a newborn. So the last 8-9 years, he's 9. So 8-9 years I have been talking in my stories, and I dabbled in YouTube a little bit. And ultimately, my YouTube didn't get a lot of engagement. I don't think that long form video is like my audience's style. And the thing that I get the most engagement with besides stories on Instagram is the podcast. So I know that some people love the podcast video vibe. So I thought, you know what, when summer's over, the boys are back to school, I'm recording my podcasts. I want to make some changes. And so previously, I've always just recorded like they're still going to be very like nonchalant and chill. Like I said, I've got my coffee cup here. I'm like, we're just kicking it. Sometimes I may be doing this in the bed. I might be in the pajamas. Okay. Like who knows what it's going to look like, but I'm like, you know what? Let's get the video going and just see if you guys like that. And if it's something that is a hit, we'll keep that going. Also, the other change that I wanted to make is I never thought that I would say this, but I honestly want to be a little more, I guess, like in the moment with the podcast. So previously I would record all the episodes, batch record style, and they would go out over time. And that's really nice from a schedule point of view. So TBD on if we keep this up, to be totally honest. But one thing that bothers me about that is in moments like this where I'm like, oh, I've got some scheduled that we could put out. Like I want to talk about what I want to talk to you guys about right now. Like the 5 things that you need to change right now if you want to lose body fat, they're relevant in this very moment because they are coming from the conversations that I'm having with my clients. They're coming from the conversations that I'm having with you guys in the DMs. They're coming from things that I'm seeing on social media that, are being talked about. They're coming from my own experience being in a fat loss phase, getting rid of this last little bit of body fat, being in a calorie deficit, and kind of, again, going through my own experience. And so to record it and then like gatekeep it and wait to share it with you guys, that has always been something that like bugged me. Like when I want to, that's why I like stories. Like when I want to talk about something, I'm going to talk about it right now. Like while it's relevant, I don't want to hold off on it. So with the podcast, one thing that I'm going to just try is kind of alongside this video deal, I'm going to honestly try and do a little bit more like in the moment, Monday morning podcast. We'll see how this goes. I don't know if we're going to end up changing this. And then on weeks where I can't do that, stuff's going on, like for example, Labor Day is coming up, holiday, I'll be gone. That's when we'll drop those pre-recorded episodes. So we're just going to see how this is going to go, you guys. Okay. So wanted to share that because again, if you're listening to the podcast, there's also video that goes along with this. So I'm going to try not to do too much of that, like if you're watching the video, but I thought this would be a great opportunity because one thing that I love is sharing image and sharing, like if you're inside of my coaching program, 10-week transformation, you're inside of Balanced Babe Academy, then most of my trainings are like like almost PowerPoint presentation style where I'm talking you through it, but you're reading on the screen. And so it'd be kind of cool to be able to do that on the podcast a little bit so that for my ladies who are like visual, you can see some of this stuff. Now, I realize with podcast listening, a lot of times you're driving. I know that's when I'm listening to podcasts. A lot of times you're cleaning house, you're on your walk. So that's definitely not for everyone. But like I said, we're just going to test this out. See how it goes. Maybe it'll be a hit. Maybe it won't. We just like to test things around here. Okay. Let's get down to business. I want to talk about 5 things that you need to change right now if you want to lose body fat. And again, this is really stemming from the fact that I've been having a ton of conversation with clients, with my community around, what are those struggles? What are those obstacles that are popping up? And obviously we could do a gigantic list of things that you need to change if you want to lose body fat, but there's 5 things that are really standing out. And some of this does come from my own experience, dropping back into my calorie deficit. So I've shared, there's podcast episodes that post some illness that I had in 2023 where I was hospitalized and it was just crazy. You can go back and listen to all of that. My body's definitely been out of sorts. I have 1 ovary now. That totally changed things hormonally. My body went through a ton with the health scare that I had. So I wanted to do a little shape up for summer that I started at the end of 2023, like literally right before Christmas. And then I've been doing that through 2024. It is now August, but I kind of took the summer, was more relaxed, more maintenance mode-ish. After my beach trip, I bought a house, we moved, all of this. So dropping back into calorie deficit mindset, fat loss, let's finish this thing out. I have been experiencing so many things that I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got to talk about these things because they are just kind of those staple things that you need to change. They're kind of universal. Like everyone needs to hear these things. And so that is literally what we're going to talk about. Okay, getting into it. Number one. And if you've been on my Instagram, I have been talking about this. I actually have an episode recorded dedicated to this because again, it's been happening in the moment. I'm like, I've got to share this with you guys. Okay. So if you're on my Instagram, you have heard me share about this one. Number one that you need to change if you want to lose body fat, you've got to stop trying to wing it with your food. I know, like this is one of those ones that ladies are a little bit resistant to, in that it's like, well, I have a hard time meal planning. It's just so hard to meal plan. We have after school sports, we have travel ball, after school activities. We travel a lot. We, never know what our weeknights are going to look like. Totally 100%, 1000% understand. Like I'm right there with you guys. We have football practice 3 nights this week and that was not supposed to be, but we had heat advisories. So we missed a lot of practices. So now we've got to make them up and coach is a little over the top with this thing. So we gotta like be there at practice. And so I know like that got thrown on to my schedule. And another, like I've got a friend leaving town. We called a last minute, like girls night dinner. Like I am right there with you guys. I travel. My fiance lives 2.5 hours away. I do a ton of commuting. It's constant, schedule's constantly changing. Like I hear you guys with this one, but here's the thing. If you have a goal of fat loss, trying to wing it with your food, like 100% wing it, like no planning or very, very little planning, I have seen first with my 100-pound weight loss transformation, but also with my clients. I've worked with thousands of women over the last 8-9 years. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It literally does not work. And here's why this is just true. I always kind of liken this to if you're building a house, like you're trying to build your dream house. Are you just going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever and just start like buying lumber and buying like some tools and like hope that when you take it back to the plot of land that like you're going to build the dream house? Like, no, it's not how it works. Your body is like the dream house, right? That transformation that you're looking to have, it's going to require you to have a plan. It's going to require you to have a blueprint, just like you would need for the house. So when it comes to meal planning, just a couple of quick tips that I want to share before we move on to number 2, because I know, again, if you are somebody who, you're a busy mom or you're a busy woman, you're a career woman, you travel a lot, I know meal planning is tough. And I also know that if you're like me, one thing that I kind of struggle with is I can change my mind about what I want to eat. And then I'm like resenting the food and I'm not wanting to eat it, right? So here are just some quick tips. Number 1, I am a huge fan of cooking components of meals. Got the fingers going, components of meals. So this is, this looks like, okay, let's go ahead and just cook up a few different protein sources or prep a few different protein sources. So maybe you're going to cut up a rotisserie chicken. Maybe you're going to brown some ground beef or ground turkey, if that's what you like. It's not what I like. I'm going to go with the lean ground beef over the ground turkey, but if you like the ground turkey, maybe it is, cooking up some salmon, prepping some salmon, making some chicken salad, tuna salad. Maybe it is boiling some eggs. Maybe it's making some individual yogurt containers, right? Going ahead and prepping a couple options of protein and then going ahead and prepping a couple of veggies. So this could be roasting some green beans with Parmesan. This could be steaming some broccoli. This could be, cooking up some bell peppers and onions, making like a little stir fry. Then maybe some rice. We're moving on to grains, like having some rice and some tortillas. Then you've got all your components. And what you can do is put together meals as you go. Okay, I'm going to grab this bag of salad and I'm going to grab some of that rotisserie chicken and this is going to be lunch. And then it's dinner. We're going to throw together some of that ground beef. We're going to use the rice and we're going to make, use the bell peppers and the onions and make like a taco bowl. Okay. So, you don't have to necessarily have your meals exactly planned out, but what you do is you've got these components of your meals and you're putting them together, you're piecing them together so that you've got a little bit of variability, a little bit of flexibility throughout your week. You've got some fun sauces, salsa, condiments, all that kind of stuff. And you can use the components of that you've cooked in different ways, right? So that gives you some flexibility. It also allows for you to say, okay, on this night, we're super busy. So I'm just going to, throw this one together, but you've got the food. This is literally stocking your environment for success. Okay. Again, trying to wing it doesn't really work. The other thing that I always am a huge fan of and really do suggest for clients is, sit down at the top of your week and look at what does this week look like. For example, I've got this big calendar over here to my left and, on that calendar, I have everything. I've got those football practices. I've got the dinner out. I've got everything kind of written out so that then when I'm sitting down to plan my meals, I can say, oh, we're not going to be getting home until after 7 o'clock most nights this week. So I need to have dinner, like either something that's already ready or something like a slow cooker. I'm a huge fan of the slow cooker during the busy fall season. Any season really, because it cooks dinner while I'm away. Dump it in the crock pot, come home at the end of the night, dinner is ready to go, okay? Using convenience items. Again, not everything has to be cooked from scratch. I feel like when ladies switch into like, I want to lose the weight, I want to get healthy, it also switches into, I have to cook everything from scratch. And that's not true. Yes, reducing how much eating out you're doing, reducing how much of those processed foods that, don't serve your goals. Of course, that's going to be helpful. The door dashing, like all that stuff, cutting all that back. But it doesn't mean you have to go in this extreme opposite. And I know with our black and white minds, we tend to do this, but you don't have to switch into this extreme opposite where now you're like cooking everything from scratch. Like you can use some frozen veggies, girl. I swear you're going to be just fine. You can use, there's pre-cooked proteins. There's so many things nowadays. We have this resource inside of our programs, Balanced Babe Academy. It's one of our most popular resources called the Busy Babe Grocery Guide, because the women inside of our programs, they're busy. They are busy, but guess what? They're doing it. They're not trying to cook everything from scratch. They're being realistic. So when you're looking at your week and you're like, holy cow, super busy, we got a lot going on, plan ahead, think ahead. What needs to happen on Tuesday when there's football practice or there's choir or there's whatever, travel, or I'm getting home late, there's a meeting, there's an obligation, there's an activity. Like, what do I need to do? I need to, make sure that dinner's going to be there because you're going to be tired at the end of the day. So preparing that, 25 plus ingredient meal when you get home at the end of the night and you're exhausted, it's not realistic. So with meal planning, again, oftentimes I just see ladies not preparing, not thinking ahead, and then not being realistic about it. So just some quick tips, but all to say for point one, we got to stop trying to wing it with our food and expect that we're going to just shed body fat and have this massive transformation. It's going to take preparation. It's going to take having a blueprint. And if you're somebody who's been trying to wing it and you're not seeing the result you want, or it's really inconsistent, you're kind of teeter-tottering all the time, it's time to get consistent with the meal planning. Okay. Number two, something that we need to change if we want to shed body fat right now is we've got to stop viewing food logging in a negative light. Here's the thing. Nobody loves food logging. I mean, there are definitely people who love food logging. Mom is an example of somebody who loves food logging. And I have clients that love it. It's not the most fun thing in the world for most women. Like, it's not. Yeah, it's like kind of time. Like, it takes some time and like, it's kind of annoying. Like, it's not just the greatest thing in the world, but the benefit that you get from it, the way that it is a tool that is going to get you the result that you say you want, right? You're saying you want this result. Okay, we got to like flip it into a positive. And here's the thing. I really pull this one out because I've shared this before, but it's kind of important because I've been seeing this with clients a lot lately. Ladies who, kind of have that like negative mindset, and maybe it's past dieting, really restrictive, or having a macro coach or program that's like really intense where it's like you have to hit it to the gram and you're like counting the carbs, the fats, the protein. And it's like super intense and there's no room for error. And you feel like if you don't log everything 100% accurately, then like that's why you're not losing weight, all that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So totally get like maybe negative connotations with past experiences. But if you're getting started right now, or you're trying to really get this thing going and get your momentum and start shedding body fat, seeing results, let's flip it into a positive. Like your mindset around this, it really does matter. Okay. So let's flip it into a positive, and let's just start viewing food logging as this is a tool, a temporary tool that is going to A, get me the result that I want, and B, allow me to keep the results. Okay. So what I mean by this, A, get the result that I want. The fastest route to shed body fat is to know how many calories you're consuming and ensure that you're in a calorie sweet spot. And the fastest way to do that is to log your food. Sure, you could change things around. You could kind of like shift portions, and you could cut things out, and you can move, but like you're still guessing in the dark with that. So with food logging, you're ensuring, and no, it's not going to be 100%. Nothing is 100%. Even with guesstimating and all the things, like you're doing some, but like it's the closest that you're going to be able to be. So it's the fastest route. It's going to get us there quicker. Like, let's view that as a good thing. It is so beneficial to log your food to the B point here, because it teaches you about your food for the rest of your life. Think of it as like, not only am I here to do this to get the result, but also I'm here to learn about my food so that I don't have to log again. Right? Like maybe you pull the tool out for logging, like down the road here, there, summer shape ups, things like that. But like, you don't have to log for the rest of your life. Once you're into that maintenance mode, the goal is to be done with logging once you're in there comfortably. That's what I have my clients do. So we want to get away from logging. Well, how are we going to maintain this body if we, are not logging our food anymore? Well, we're going to take all the knowledge that we gained from that time, and now we're going to use it in maintenance. Okay. So when you're logging your food and you see how calorie expensive brunch is, it's shocking. The first time I logged some croissants and some eggs and some champagne and like mimosa situation, I was like, oh my God, like avocado toast, like, oh my gosh, like, okay, but that's a learning lesson. Now I carry that for the rest of my life. Same thing, like the portion of cereal, ice cream, like what? Okay. Now I carry that for the rest of my life, because once we're not just here to lose the weight, we're here to keep it off. So once we get to where we want to be able to maintain that body. And if we're looking at our plate and we're like, I know, because I've measured out what, a half a cup of rice is. I'm looking at this hibachi situation and I know that I'm consuming like 2, 3, 4 times that amount. Just good to know, because if you're wanting to maintain your body, or if things are starting to slip in the wrong direction, you can rein it in. You can pull it in and say, my portions are too big. I've been doing too much eating out, too much, flexing, relaxing, just overeating portions, whatever. So the tool of logging not only helps you lose the weight, not only ensures that you get there the fastest route, but also that you're going to learn about your food, understand how many calories you consume in your meals and what those portions look like, so that you can bank all of that and have all of that knowledge for lasting success. We don't just want to lose the weight temporarily. We want to keep it off forever. And food logging is going to allow for you to do that. So we got to stop viewing it in a negative light. Like, this is literally a switch in your brain, okay? No, I'm not saying you have to switch to this is the funnest, greatest thing ever. But it is a positive thing. It is going to bring you the results that you're looking for and allow for you to keep them. So let's start viewing it as a positive thing. Got to make this change. You're going to resent this process if you're just constantly feeling like, ugh. And one little just quick tip throwing in, pre-logging, hint, hint, there's an episode coming on this topic, really does save you so much time and energy. Yes, in the front end, it's annoying. Like I did it this week. I sat down, I pre-logged everything, kind of annoying to have to sit there and do that. But also it just took me a few minutes, and it's a bit of a rough skeleton outline because I've got some nights, like I don't know where I'm eating out with my girlfriends yet and things like that. Like it's a skeleton of like, I know my breakfast, like I know my lunch, but I'm going to have to, fit some things in, but at least I have an outline, right? That blueprint we were talking about. I am saving so much energy this week. I don't have to think about it as much. I don't have to stress about it. I'm just going to go plug things in, maybe make some swaps. And I'm not sitting there at the end of every day or multiple times throughout my day trying to update this food log. as much as we scroll and stuff like mindlessly, it's kind of like, I'm always a little bit like, sorry, not sorry that like you can open that app and do a little bit of logging too. I'm just saying, I'm not coming for anybody about this, but let's be real. As much as we mindlessly scroll on social, it doesn't really take that much time to log our food. But if you're like me and you feel like annoyed by having to do it multiple times throughout the day, log on the front end, follow your roadmap, and then you save so much time and energy throughout your week. Yes, you're going to have to go in, adjust things, make sure that everything's good. You can't just log it and forget it, right? Make adjustments as you go, but it's so much energy spent in the front end that pays dividends in the rest of your week. So there's just a little pro tip. Start viewing it in a positive light. And I'm telling you, pre-logging will allow for you to do this. Episode on this one coming. Okay, number 3, we got to stop giving our exercise so much credit, okay? This is a really important one. We've got a lot of ladies that have joined us inside of Balance Babe Academy recently. And it's one of those things that a lot of them are like, I know how to work out. I've heard this for many, many years. I know how to work out. I know how to exercise. I know how to be consistent and do all that, but it's the food. Like that's the thing. And I was trying to work out and trying to, get these results, but maybe I was getting stronger. I feel better and all of this, but my body's just not changing in the way that I want it to, right? Because I want to build some muscle and feel good and all that, but like I also want to shed body fat. So all of this to say, yes, you can build muscle. You can change your body composition by working out. You can, get your cardio good and all these things by, getting on the spin bike, going for a run, like all that's great. But at the end of the day, if it's your body composition that you want to change when it comes to shedding body fat, you've got to stop thinking that it's the exercise that's going to get you there. It's not. It is not. And again, I think that sometimes we're willing to do the exercise part. It's like, I can do that part, but like changing the diet, like having to be in a calorie deficit, having to log my food consistently, having to not sabotage on the weekends, like it's so much like, I just don't know that I'm willing to do all those things. But the title of the podcast episode is, if you want to lose body fat, this is something you have to change. You have to stop thinking that you can out exercise the diet. So we got to have the calorie deficit. We got to be logging consistently so that we know that we're staying in those calories, right? So this is just one of those things that if you need to hear it today, I'm here to give it to you, that we got to stop thinking that the exercise is enough if it's body fat that we're wanting to shed, okay? We got to be willing to go a little deeper and know that nutrition really is like 90% of it. So exercise is great. We want to be exercising for a multitude of reasons. But at the end of the day, if you want to shed body fat, we've got to start focusing and putting more energy towards the diet side. Okay, number 4, something we got to change if we want to start shedding the body fat right now. I just mentioned it, and that is weekend sabotage. How many of you guys are doing this one? Okay. This definitely stems from conversations that we've been having in the DMs. I mean, look, ladies, here's the thing about it. You're working so freaking hard during the week. Like you're killing yourself during the week to do this. You are showing up so hard. And I'm going to be the one to tell you, if you haven't heard it before, that yes, you can undo it all in the weekend. Now, that is not to discount the changes that you've made, the habits that you're working on. Like, I'm so freaking proud of you if you weren't doing anything before and now you're working on your habits during the week. That's awesome. We can talk about progress for sure. But if you want to shed body fat, we're getting so specific here, okay? If you want to shed body fat, you have to be in a consistent calorie deficit. And it doesn't matter how freaking hard you work during the week if you turn around and unravel the entire thread like on the weekend. It just doesn't. Friday through Sunday, that's 43% of your week. That's almost half. It's almost half. I've been sharing this for years and years and years and telling you guys over and over and over again. You cannot continue to weekend sabotage and expect that you're going to transform your body in a major way. inside of our program, we have a training called Weekend Weight Loss Training. It's a very specific because this is a huge obstacle. I mean, you are not like, if this is your struggle, you are so not alone. There's like so many women who just feel like the weekend is so tough, and there's a multitude of reasons, right? Maybe it's that your schedule is so different on the weekend. Maybe it's that you have a really tough job and a really tough week, and the weekend is a way to relax, like taking your foot off the gas. I mean, there's a million reasons why the weekend might be a struggle for you. It doesn't matter what the reason is. What matters is that if you truly want to see results, if you want to shed the body fat and transform your body and your habits, right? Your overall habits, you can't just be taking 43% of the week off, even 2 days of the weekend off. It's not enough. There's not enough consistency, and you're undoing all the hard work. This is the part that I'm not afraid to tell you, that sometimes people are like, oh, I want to be cushy about this. Absolutely not. No, because I want you to get results. I want you to actually reach your goal body. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. You cannot afford to waste any more time sabotaging all weekend long. You cannot afford to, okay? If you want to reach this goal, you're wasting so much time. You are sending yourself backwards and backwards and backwards. And it is like that old saying of, one step forward, 2 steps back. And I mean, so many of you guys will tell me, I'm just so burnt out on trying to lose weight. I'm so burnt out on dieting, but you're sabotaging all weekend long. Well, yeah, no wonder you're burnt out on this. Like I would be too. I totally get it. I've been there. I have been the guiltiest of the weekend sabotage. And yeah, I'd be, thinking I'm doing it. I'm showing up all week long. Why am I get to the end of, a month, 6 weeks and be like, why am I just not seeing the results? And then I look back at my weekends and no, I did not have it together. Maybe I was doing some stuff, but I did not have it together. I was overeating my calories. I was being way too relaxed, and it was not enough time consistently in my calories with my habits to move the needle forward on seeing true progress. Was some progress being made? Like, sure. Like true progress, the kind where it shows, the kind where you get on the scale and it shows, the kind where you do your measurements or your progress pictures, or you put on clothes and it shows. That wasn't happening. So I'm not afraid to sugarcoat this one again for you guys, that the weekend will sabotage you and you are wasting time by continuing to ignore it. So we got to change this one. We got to do something when it comes to the weekends. Now, I have a previous episode on weekend sabotage that talks about my favorite tips for the weekend, and I will include that in the show notes so that you guys can check it out. If you're like, okay, I know the weekend is a struggle, Hillary, like give me more. So definitely I will link that episode. I talk tips, all kinds of things. So definitely check that one out. But this is one, ladies, if you know that I'm speaking to you, we got to get this one in check. Okay, the last one. And this one, I'm coming at you guys a little bit of like tough mama fat loss coach love here, okay? Because y'all are still doing this. And I've been talking about this one for years, but the buildup has gotten more and more and more and more. If you want to shed this body fat, lose this body fat, transform your body, okay? You've got to make this change right now. You have got to stop over consuming information. Now, the psychology major in me is about to come out really quick. I know it feels productive. I know it feels good. And I am not saying that you are not getting value from the things that you are consuming. 100%. I know you are. I'm glad you're consuming this podcast. Whether you're listening to this, whether you are watching this, I'm so glad that you're here, because if you're consuming this information, it means you want to change. It means you want to do this. So many of y'all are always saying, I just feel like I'm not motivated. And yeah, you're motivated. You're listening to this. Like you want this. I know you want this. And I know the reason that you're following all these accounts and downloading all these freebies is because you're desperately searching for the answer for yourself. And I want you to find that answer. I 100% do. But at some point, we have to have a conversation around how many freebies have we downloaded, how many free workout plans, free meal plans, free trainings, how many, influencers, coaches, professionals, hopefully professionals, guys, that you're following. Like, how much of that have you been doing and where are we at with progress? Now, this is the psychology part. Your brain loves this. It loves it. Ooh, it feels so good. It almost feels like you're taking action, right? I'm consuming all this information, this little hit of like, I learned something. But how good is it to learn it if you're not taking action and doing it, especially consistently? Like, oop, I did that one time, but then I was on to the next thing. And this is where ladies end up stuck. You're consuming so much, you're following so much that you're doing something, and then just about that, like, you didn't even spend enough time getting consistent with it before you're on to the next thing. And now you're switching it up and you're on to the next program and you're on to the next freebie and you're never actually consistent with any one thing long enough to get the result. I'm calling out a very specific woman with this one, and it's because I talk to you guys a lot. I have a lot of ladies join my programs, and I know how this one goes. The other piece to this is trying to just soak up like all the information and put the pieces together. The problem with that I'll tell you, when I started this 9 years ago now, there were creators out there and coaches talking, but it's nothing like it was right now. And I say this all the time. I'm so thankful that I started when I started, because I didn't have just every time I scrolled my feed, somebody else handing me more information and like shoving their, approach down my throat to the point where it's just like, you're just consumed by everybody's stuff that you're overwhelmed with where to take action. I'm so thankful. And I see this now that there is so much content out there, and so many of you guys are like trying to like pick the pieces out, and like you're forming this really just like, I don't want to call it, well, I just hate to use this word, but I'm going to call it out what it is. Like, it's just this really ugly collage. Like, it's just super abstract and weird, and it doesn't make any sense. And it's because there's a million creators, coaches, professionals out there that have their approach and their philosophy. And what is true is that one person's might contradict with another person's. Even if it's not drastically different, it's different enough that it doesn't really align. And therefore it's again, that one step forward, two steps back. Like, you're not really making forward progress. And so if you're trying to just put all these pieces together and just soak up all this information, and it feels really good, it feels like, okay, I can just take that and that and that and put this together and this together. And you're coming out with this really ugly, scattered collage, and your brain just feels so like, wow, like I have an image in my free training about how to switch your body into fat burning mode that shows like the map where it's just like all over the place. Like the lines are just blah, all over the place. But if you follow one approach and you just commit to that one approach, it's like this beautiful path. It's like all of a sudden, all that just blah, like the crazy map, the ugly collage, like all of a sudden it's just this like beautiful painting, and it just all makes sense. And you can clearly like pick out, like, there's the mountains and there's the trees and there's like the little river, and like it's beautiful. It's not this hot mess of stuff just stuck together very desperately, very chaotically. And I know that's what your brain feels like. Like, I know, because I've done this in other areas for sure. So it feels bad, it feels exhausting, and it doesn't get you the progress that you want. You're not shedding the body fat because you're trying to put together all these frameworks, all these concepts, all these things. And either it's overwhelming you to the point where now you don't want to take action, or just about the time you get started, you're switching on to the next thing. This goes for workouts, this goes for diet, all of it, okay? So the answer to this is you got to get on one path, okay? I don't care. I mean, I do care what path it is. I don't want you getting on a path that's not going to work for you, or that's extreme, because we know that doesn't work. But like, you got to pick a path. Like, you've got to really, truly stop over consuming and stop overloading yourself to a point where you're paralyzed to take action, where you just feel like you're spinning your wheels, where you feel like every time you turn around, you're doubting what you're doing. There is so much peace in this. And this definitely comes from, we've had so many ladies join us inside of BBA lately. And I'm hearing this same thing over and over again, more now than ever. I've always heard this, but I'm hearing this a lot, hence why I'm bringing it up to you guys. more than ever, I'm hearing I was so stuck. I was spinning my wheels. I thought that it was because I was in my 40s and my body was broken, my metabolism, my genetics. Like I thought that it was this and this and this. And they're like, but I came in, I followed the framework that we lay out, like step-by-step process. I followed it. I trusted it. I've been consistent with it. And I'm finally seeing progress. I'm finally losing a pound a week. I'm finally like shedding body fat. My clothes are fitting looser and my mind feels better. I feel more peaceful. I feel like I just know what to do now. I feel like I can think about other things. This isn't consuming me anymore. If you think about it like anything in life, kind of like going back to this whole blueprint idea at the beginning, it's so much harder when you're just trying to like put all these pieces together and build this house from scratch and not have a plan versus just following a step by step. But the first step to this is to stop the overconsumption, stop the madness. Like you might be a little bit addicted to downloading these things and finding a new creator and like obsessing and binging all their content, right? Take a deep breath on it. Resist the urge to just keep following and following and following. How overloaded are you with this stuff? How much are you doubting the process because every time you turn around, you're making a change? Or, how much are you paralyzed to take action because you're hearing one thing from this person and one thing from this person? Like, how much are you overloading? How free would you feel? How much relief would you feel if you just stopped? I know it's crazy. If you're like kind of like addicted to this or you've gotten into this habit, you don't even realize like how free would you feel if you just kind of poof, let some of it go. I'm not telling you to unfollow people. Okay. I'm not telling you to stop learning. I'm not telling you to stop taking in information. Okay. This may be bad marketing on my part. I don't care. I care about your mental well-being. I care about you seeing progress. And I know this is sabotaging so many of you guys. Like I have to bring it up with you. We got to change this one. We've got to stop doing this to ourselves. And I'm just going to like one little tangent here before I end this one. The biggest thing is like your mental health matters too, like massively matters. Okay. Fat loss is important. Reaching your goal body, that's important. I'm never going to be the coach like, that's not important. Of course it's freaking important. You wouldn't be here. Okay. But your mental health is very, very important. And in this society world where we have so much to consume at our fingertips more than ever before, we have so much choice, we have so much coming at us. So many of us are talking about how stressed and overwhelmed we feel in this world and in this society. And yet we sit there and continue to scroll and just soak up all this information and like take a break, go for a walk without anything. Nothing. Put the phone down, step away, unfollow. I'm telling you guys, I've shared this. I did this about a year ago after some seasonal depression where I realized like I've got to make a change here. I stopped the mindless scroll. Now I still scroll. I'm not saying I don't scroll, but like the amount that I was doing and my anxiety and my comparison and my stress levels, like my brain is now free to soak up and actually take action on stuff because I'm not cramming it. And podcasts, like I love podcasts so much, but I had to start being careful about how much I was consuming, what I was consuming. And so your mental health matters. If you feel crammed and stuffed all the time, maybe it's time to just lighten up the load. How much of this are we doing? And how much are you trying to piece together these things by yourself without a clear path and plan so that you end up with that hot mess collage? We got to think about this one. Okay. So all to say, if this sounds like, yes, Hillary, this is my struggle. I'm like literally sitting here nodding my head and I know I need to do this. The best thing to me about our program, so we have an amazing community, but it's not on Facebook. And a lot of times you'll hear like business coaches and stuff, just a little insider thing, say like, oh no, Facebook communities are where it's at because people are already on Facebook. And I'm like, I don't want my stuff in Facebook. Like a Facebook, great. I want to see your back to school pictures. Like I want to catch up with family. But like when it comes to a goal like fat loss, changing your habits, transforming your life, getting healthier, I need to like dedicate like time and energy to, I need to put that focus like by itself. This is maybe my preference, but we've seen it with our ladies as well. And that's why our community is not on social media. That is 100% why we have a platform and a community that also has an app that is very like, I'm logging in to check into Balance Babe Academy so that I can spend time learning the plan A to Z, so that I can touch base with the community, so that I can ask Calorie a question and say, hey, I have a question about this. What do you think? I need advice. Hey, community, how are you guys hitting your protein target? Like we're pointed in one place. We're not scattered by all the other stuff that's going on. And the other thing that I just love about that is it really allows for your brain to feel like you are focused on this goal. And so if you know that you need this roadmap, Balance Babe Academy is the place, and this is the best time to jump in because we have a fat loss challenge coming in September. At the time that this is live, we may already be in it if you're listening to it late. We have a fat loss challenge coming in September that is like, y'all, if you've ever done a challenge with us, like this is everyone's favorite, okay? We always do a fun guide. This time we're doing a simple meals guide, fall edition, new workout plan. This is going to be a 4-day per week upper body, lower body split. Normally we do 3-day per week full body, but we're going hard on these workouts in the fall. And there will be an option for shifting things around if you need to do it 3 days. But we have prizes. We have really specific posts and things that are going to pull you in, keep you motivated, engaged, and really focused on fat loss, like really, really focused on fat loss specifically. So now is a great time to jump in and join us because that is getting started in September. But before we start that, the A to Z plan, okay, the step-by-step plan, it is ready for you in Balance Babe Academy right now. When you join, the very first thing you're going to do is fill out a form to get custom macros from me. That is your starting point. That's where we're going to start. You're also going to fill out a couple questions so that we can give you like really specific like guidance towards like what we think that you should focus on, where you should look, like very custom like game plan for you alongside those macros. Okay. So like first step, boom, you can be done with the calculators. Like you can just like breathe that sigh of relief. Okay. Like I've got my numbers. I can stop messing with the calculators. I can just like go hard on my numbers. And then you start our 21-day fat loss program. This is our framework. It lays it out for you step by step. Week 1, day 1, let's go. It lays it out. It tells you everything you need to know to learn how to lose this body fat in a balanced way. No cutting out foods. No, I can't go out to eat. I can't have the cake. I can't have that. Like none. Like we show you exactly how to do it. Very step by step. And the really great thing about BBA now is that in your first 21 days, we have a special area just for your first 21 days to be able to ask me your questions. Throw them at me. What is it as you're working through this that's coming up for you? Any obstacles, any struggles, any questions you have, any guidance, advice you want, and I can shoot those answers back to you so that we can move through it really quickly. At the end of your 21 days, you're going to fill out a check-in and we're going to ensure that your calories are where they need to be and that your progress is moving in the right direction. Like check in with me fully feeling so solid and confident before you move into the month 2, where you are going to make tweaks. You're going to learn all about our tools for more flexibility and freedom, really dialing things in. And month 3, you're going to optimize your fat loss so that you have lasting success. Okay. We have this laid out for you. You got foundations, you got tweaks, you got optimizing. You don't have to wonder, well, should I focus on this now or this now? Like it's the step by step and it's the proven framework. Thousands of women have learned this framework and shed body fat, and you can literally get started right now, today. Okay. I went off on a tangent there, but I have to just tell you because to that 5th point, again, what we're hearing from so many ladies who have come in and they've joined and now they've got the framework and they're just following the step by step. They know what to do. They've got their macros, like they're ready to roll. They've got the communities to support them. They've got me to ask questions. Like we've got a live call coming up next week. Okay. So Q&A, get coaching with me. Like, we're there to show you how to do this, to support you through it. Stop trying to do it alone. Stop trying to put the pieces together and ending up with a collage. And when you know that you want a Picasso, a Mona Lisa, a dream body painting, okay? That's what you can get with us inside of BBA. So deep breath. Would love for you guys to join us inside of BBA. I'm going to drop the link. And again, it's a great time because you can get started on the 21-day program and you're going to roll into this fat loss challenge. We only do challenges inside a membership. In case you missed the memo, we no longer just run challenges on the side. Like, join our membership. It is literally so incredible. The community, the resources, God, we have it stacked and we have so much more coming. I can't even wait for you guys to see all this stuff. Oh, so excited. Okay. Anyways, join us in BBA. I'm going to link it below and hush my mouth about this one, but I just want you guys to know there's an answer out there and I would love for y'all to join us. If you have any questions, you can always DM me at Balance by Hillary with 1L and we can talk, make sure that it's a good fit for you. I've been having that conversation with a lot of ladies and always tell y'all, I literally had a conversation with someone who was like, because of what you're trying to do and your approach, like, what you're wanting, our program's not a fit for you. So I'm never going to lie to you and tell you that you should join if you shouldn't. So if you are unsure and you want to make sure, you can always shoot me a message. Just give me a little background info and I'll let you know what I think, but we would love to have you and to free up your brain so that you can use your energy elsewhere this fall so that you can live your best life, feel amazing, and still see the progress that you want. Okay. So I hope these 5 tips or things rather to change if you want to shed body fat were helpful. Again, shoot me a message. I always love hearing from you guys. I'm dropping all the links to all the things that I talked about. And this video episode was fun. Now I got to figure out how to get it all uploaded. So thank you guys for spending time with me today. I will see you in the next episode. Bye guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of It's All About Balance. And if you did enjoy today's show, make sure that you're subscribed so that you never miss a new episode. If you have not already, please connect with me on social media. I absolutely love meeting you guys and getting to know you. I will drop the links to my social in the show notes as well as our website. And I will see you guys next time.